Praise the Lord.
Say praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
What day is it today? What are we celebrating today?
The risen Christ.
What is called the day? Sunday, what Sunday?
Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday. What does it mean to a believer? Easter means, what is it? What does it mean to a believer? Don't talk about the unbelievers, but what is meant by Easter? Easter is nothing but to celebrate the risen Christ, who is our hope. The title of my message is The Risen Christ is Our Hope. What is hope? Anybody can define what is hope? What hope is nothing but, in simple English terms, our desire accompanied by expectation. You expect something in future and anticipate something in future, so that you have that strong desire which is called hope. Now, the resurrection account is discounted by many skeptics who cast doubts on unbelievers. This is satanic deception. Satan likes to mislead the believers, and he discounts it through people. The first deception, a lie, came from the Jews. The Jews asked the gods to lie. Tell them the body is being stolen by his disciples. Now, second deception is the swoon theory. Swoon means fainting. Jesus Christ, he fainted, was unconscious. And this is not plausible in terms of medical science, as water gushed from his side. They pierced his side, so the water and blood came out. When the blood contains 70% of water. And as soon as a person ceases to live, the water separates from the blood. So the blood alone with red corpuscles and other things, it will come out. Once it pierces a person, puncture his body, is what happens. The body will disintegrate. Now, this theory has been disputed. Resurrection account in sequence as narrated in the four Gospels. We look at Matthew 28, 1 to 6. Here, the sequence of the resurrection has been recounted excellently. Now, Matthew 28, 1 to 6, I'll read it for you. Now, after the Sabbath, at the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary. Who is this other Mary? The mother of Jesus Christ. Came to see the tomb. They visited to see what's happening there. And then, behold, verse 2, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came down and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. This is another miracle caused by the mighty God to raise his son out of the tomb. The earth was shaking. When he was crucified, there was an earthquake too. God's power has been manifested in these acts. Now, verse number 3, his countenance was like a lightning, and his clothing was white as snow. And God shook for fear. and became like dead men. They were being petrified. The supernatural power, they've seen the supernatural power manifested in this person, unlike anyone, in different. Now, but the angel answered and said, "Women, don't be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, he is risen, as he said. Come, see place where the Lord lay." Now look at it and see, go and see where the Lord is. Is empty or still is dead? So they were given a chance to go and see, look at it. Now, if we look at this sequence of the four Gospels, then the first thing, women visit the tomb. All the women mentioned before. Peter and John see the empty tomb. Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. And four, his appearance to other women, Salome and Joanne. And God's reported the resurrection. They were reported to the Jewish, those Jews according to authority, who asked them to lie. Now, also, his appearance to two disciples traveling to Emmaus. They're seeing him, risen Christ. 7, his appearance to 10 disciples without Thomas. 10 disciples out of 12, one committed suicide, and the 9 plus this person, only Thomas was a doubting Thomas. Now he wanted to check and see if he's alive. He wanted to put the fingers in the wounds of Jesus, in the hands there to the cross. And this again he appeared to 7 people by the Sea of Galilee. The evidence is indisputable, solid and tenable. Solid means there is substance. Tenable means long-lasting. This evidence is supported by a journalist called Lee Strobel. He is an investigative journalist, and he written a book titled Case of Christ, Case for Christ. So the disciples are the biggest proof for this truth of resurrection. They've seen and then witnessed that the resurrection is true. Resurrection is indisputable and refutes all the theories of deception. If someone manipulated the evidence, then millions of people around the world gather today to celebrate a myth. If it's not true, Jesus Christ is not true, what we're celebrating is a myth. It's a fancy thing, concocted, but it is not true. It's truly risen. Now, if you look at Corinthians 15th chapter, verses from 14 to 20, where Paul stated that there are 6 things that could be in shambles, that is, in uncertainty. If Christ did not rise from the dead, these things would be false, futile, useless. But in verse 20, he reverses the whole paragraph by stating, but in fact, Christ has been raised from the dead. He concludes, on the basis of all the evidence he gathered from the disciples who saw this first-handed, and he says, declares emphatically that Christ has been raised from the dead. It's alive. Verse 14, if Christ has not been raised, then our preaching is in vain. What we preach of the gospel is a lie. What about anything we do in the name of Christ is a lie. And it's in vain. That means it's useless. There's no substance in it. But since Christ has been raised, our preaching of the gospel is not in vain. It's not empty. It is full, meaningful, valuable, and significant. And we go to verse 15, 1 Corinthians 15 chapter, verse 15. If Christ is not raised, then living for Him, doing what He says, following His will, is a great delusion. That is misleading and deception. But since Christ has been raised and is alive and reigns as a king forever, everlasting to everlasting king, all our obedience, our allegiance, love, and sacrifices that we make, many believers I know, Prabhupada Singh, he has to do lots of sacrifices. He has to deny his relationship with parents, everything. He had to give up everything. I had to give up my own habits, old habits, lust for living, lead a fanciful life. So I had to give up everything. But since he's been raised, he's alive and reigns as a king for so and so. Our obedience and our love and everything is not to be pitied. And verse 15, since Christ is being raised, we are not false witnesses of the work of God. Okay, my time is up. Sorry. And probably I have to stop right here. God bless you guys.